Hello and welcome. I'm Shilpa Ratnam and you're watching the morning news on CNN News 18. Breaking news coming in. UN report blames China for human rights violations against Uyghurs in Xinjiang. UN report says possible crimes against Uyghurs in Xinjiang. UN report says serious human rights violation in China's territory and that their treatment of the Uyghur minority may constitute international crimes, in particular crimes against humanity. Going across to my colleague Abhishek Jha to bring us more details. Very good morning to you, Abhishek. Is this the most stern language that has been used by the UN when it comes to the plight of the Uyghur Muslims? Their plight has been observed and lamented across the world. How would you view this report coming in from the UN?
So clearly, this is something that the world has been waiting for a very long time, because Michelle Bachelet, she had said that the report was expected to be launched in the public domain like some 2-3 years ago only. But it looks like because of the Chinese pressure at multilateral organizations, including UN, the UNHRC had to hold the report for this very long time. And Michelle Bachelet, when she was about to leave her office, just few minutes before that, she had dropped this report in the public domain. And the report is very scathing. It is totally, it tells how the story in Xinjiang that has been reported by various news organizations and independent, other organizations is very much true. There is clearly human rights violation of Uyghur minorities there. Those violations are to the extent that they should be tantamount to crime against humanity. This is a very strong word language that the UN report is using, that the Chinese authorities are doing crime against humanity. And this is not being done to a small group of people. We know that tens and thousands of people in Xinjiang province of China have been put into a sort of re-education camp and different camps where they are not being allowed to practice their religion. They are being forced to listen and in Chinese, the government's language, re-educate themselves to the line of the Chinese authorities. And there has also been reports of human rights violation, how the people have been taken to those prisons by force, and there has been then disappearance. No basic medical aid is being given to them, tortures, and multiple gory stories we have been hearing for a very long time. But so far, there had never been a formal United Nations Human Rights Council report on this. And now when this report is out, the world is able to know what is actually going on in Xinjiang province of China.
Abhishek, can you tell me why the delay in this report? Because I know a lot of human rights organizations across the world have raised alarm over the way the Uyghur Muslims have been treated in China. It has been a point of contention many times over. So why would you say this report only comes so late and at this point in time?
So we see clearly, we have to understand the fact that China is currently second most powerful nation in the world. This is second biggest donor to United Nations. There is a authority like Chinese officials are at the very high ranks of United Nations, various offices, and there has been regular coercion, regular pressure on United Nations authorities not to go ahead with any report that criticizes China or Chinese authorities. Sort of this human rights violation report that we are currently discussing about. So there has been such pressure and tactics by Chinese government in terms of blackmailing, in terms of funding, and the various senior officials that it has been able to place on the high ranks in various verticals of United Nations, and that has actually helped China to keep this report, which clearly tears apart Chinese claims of being very normal about this Xinjiang concentration camp that has been called various times. So clearly the Chinese clout on the multilateral organizations like UN and its influence on various other small nations and other where it has a huge influence in terms of trade and strategic partnership. These type of geopolitical heft that China currently wields in the international geopolitics has been able to keep China away from being criticized publicly on the world fora for a very long time. But now, Michelle Bechet, who was supposed to release this report some 2 3 years ago, she also did not release it. In fact, just a few months ago, she was on a visit to Hong Kong and China's other part also,
Abhishek,
where
stay with us.
apparently she
You're
was
bringing
going to.
us all these details. So do stay with us. We're also joined by Patikrit Pain, strategic analyst and geopolitical expert. Very good morning to you, Pratik. Patikrit, how do you view this very stern report coming in from the UN? They say that China's treatment of Uyghur Muslims may constitute crimes against humanity. And would you agree that this report comes quite late in time, considering the fact that so many people have already raised alarm over the treatment of this community over the years?
Good morning. First of all, Michelle Bachelet actually went to China several months back, and this report, as the previous person was also mentioning, was supposed to come several months earlier, and it was sheer pressure from China, both in terms of their clout in the UN organizations as well as the money that they actually put into United Nations, because of which they have been trying to stall it, and they successfully stalled for several months. See, the fact is, yes, it is absolutely true that there are these concentration camps, there are these labor camps in Xinjiang province where the Uyghurs are being used as literally slave laborers. And at the same time, we have to understand there are allegations of all kinds of experiments, including what is called sterilization efforts that are being done there. But the culpability is not just of the Chinese government alone. Let me say it with a lot of responsibility. There are many Western companies who have put up their factories in the Xinjiang province, and they use these, slave laborers for their production so that the cost remains competitive, and then they sell the product across the world. There are several companies in the West, especially including certain companies from Germany, who are equally culpable for this. And this is the reason, unfortunately, even though today you have a law, there's something called the Xinjiang Act by the United States, which puts sanctions on all the products coming out of, Xinjiang province, especially cotton-related products. But the reality is that this is how China has kept the cost of production low across several parts of China, and then they become competitive globally. So this is a huge crime against humanity, but unfortunately such is the dilemma and the cycle of globalization today, that in spite of knowing everything, very little will be done, because there is so much dependence on the production and the factories or manufacturing that emanate from China, that at least in the near future, if something is attempted on China or some kind of very stringent sanctions, it would result in higher inflation across the world, which is already reeling under huge inflationary pressures because of the Ukraine-Russia crisis, because of zero COVID policy of China, and also because of the federal rate interest hike. So I think in all probability, in spite of all the reports coming in, I don't think too much will be done against the Chinese Communist Party or the Beijing government, because everybody knew about what was happening there. Everybody has seen what is happening in Hong Kong. Everybody has seen what they are trying to do in Taiwan. But still everybody will remain silent for the sake of convenience. That's the harsh reality.